I love our guest today. Actually, it's not one guest, it's three guests. We started out wanting to interview Coach Altamirano, Michael. So, Michael, um, he struggled with gang affiliation and improper decisions. And then he found GOGI and the GOGI Life Tools. And now his life is so very, very different. Very different. And we get Ryan Hammer to pop in on this episode, and a guy who was released from prison to the streets, Skid Row in Los Angeles. So, three very different humans with three very different experiences, all wrapped up in one episode. Enjoy. Yay, Michael!
Hi, how you doing, Coach Sarah?
I am so awesome. How good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Look at you all dressed up in that nice jacket. You got it going on.
Thank you.
Who was shopping when you got out?
Right?
Yeah, who got you all those nice things that you're wearing?
Hey, my they said Ryan Hammer. No, my partner, my girlfriend, has been really instrumental in my rehabilitation, and she's just been just a tremendous help.
Click it. It's on your text.
Ryan's trying to get somebody else in the room. How does it feel to actually wear something with a collar?
You know what? It feels really good, and it honestly, I think it helps my self-esteem, and it helps my perspective of who I am as a man. But like more than anything, the thing that I think feels the greatest is waking up every morning and going to work, and putting that uniform on, because it's a really good feeling. I can't even express like the emotion that I feel every morning when I get dressed and go to work.
That's so wonderful. I don't know much about what you're doing. We're going to let other people into the room, but until we get other people engaged in the room, why don't you tell us what you're doing for work?
I work at Christmas. It's a nonprofit organization that helps justice impacted individuals find employment and find educational trades or vocations that they could use, that either they've been working on or something that they've been thinking of. And I basically do client coaching with them. I take them out in the field and I help them basically with everything from enrolling into school to finding what their trade is. I literally help them from the moment they step out the gates of prison, and do everything I can to direct them in the same line that I'm walking right now.
That's so
and it's an amazing experience.
That's a good reason to get up every morning.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's really changed my life, and I think I know what's changed me more is the fact that at Christmas they believed in me and they trusted in me, and I went from being a client myself at the program to supervising 15 justice impacted individuals, males and females. And daily what I do is I take them out with Caltrans and CHP, and we do roadside maintenance right here in San Fernando. But at the same time, we do client coaching as well. So I watch them work and I see what it is that they're receptive to, what it is they're good at. And then I sit down and I set goals with them weekly, and we track those goals. We make SMART goals, things as far as like driver's license, signing up for college. And it's an amazing experience. Like it's changed me as a person, because I've seen some of my clients obtain full-time employment, get their Class A license, become full-time employees for Caltrans. And it's just an experience that I can't even express, because Christmas is such an amazing organization. They've truly changed my life. Like it's just I love waking up every morning going to work. I mean,
what I like hearing is that you're living a life of service. Okay, it's your job, you're getting a paycheck, but 100%. The job that you are doing is being of service to others. And I think that is what's really cool. That is so very GOGI of you to
100%.
Pick a piece of employment that's going to require you to live a life of service. I'm just very, very proud of you. So congratulations. We're going to
Thank you
talk
very much.
more. We're going to talk more about the reentry challenges that you faced and what you are, what you're experiencing right now. Ryan, you have one of our other GOGI guys. The screen is really kind of not super clear, so I can't see who it is. And his name says Ryan Hammer Ace. Is there any way that you can change the name on that screen so that it's actually our man there? And I don't know if it's my eyes or if you guys can see his face really clear, but I totally can't.
No, I don't think I think there's probably a.
Yeah, coach, what it is he's using my other phone
Okay.
and it's my account, and yeah.
That's all
I'm
right.
sorry about
Who
that.
do we have? It's kind of out of focus. We can't see.
I'm a ghost. No, but, my name is Paul Devlin. I just got out like a month ago, and I'm in the ACE program. Yeah, I was a lifer, and I got out on November 27th, and I'm so grateful that ACE accepted me in their program. It really helped me, so I won't be homeless and be stuck out there. Went back to the old ways. So I appreciate everything they did for me. And my
I
name's
love
Paul.
that, Paul. I love that very much. What advice would you give to a guy that's getting ready to be released? Maybe he hasn't been home for a couple of decades, maybe 3 decades he hasn't been home, and he doesn't really have the contacts that he needs. What suggestions do you give? Because there are a lot of people that just don't have the support system and they're looking at getting out. And I don't know, if it were me, I'd be very much afraid. What would
Well,
you
okay,
recommend, Paul?
Coach, I did them a couple of decades. I reached out. The best way is to reach out to your support system. There are people out there to help you. You just have to find them. They're around you, and they will help you.
Paul, if there's a person sitting in an 8-foot cell and they've spent $20 on postage and they're spending another $20 on another round of postage and they are not getting any return mail for all of their reach outs, who do they reach out to? Because it's expensive to use your paper, your envelopes, your postage, send these letters out. It's like a crying out for help, and then nobody responds. That's got to be very, I don't know, discouraging.
Yes, that's a tough. Yeah, you're right. It is. It is. It is nerve-wracking, because it costs you money to look out. But I know in prison they do give you the indigent envelopes that people they can't afford stuff like that. So you could reach out. You just and use them. Use them tools they give you. The envelopes they give you in prison. I know it's this is nerve-wracking, but
Yeah.
it's. I didn't have nothing. I had a small support system, right? So I didn't have money like most people did, and I wrote to places like housing and all that stuff, and they reach back. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes it take a little longer. When people got out before me, they left me their information. So when I got out, I used that information, started calling them, and they reach out. They helped me. With a guy who got out like 6-7 months before me, and I called him, and he helped. He helped me establish, gave me like a phone, gave me things that I need to succeed in this life. Because I was tough at the first couple of days. I was homeless. I was living on Skid Row. So I just reached out to people I knew. Prison, give me contacts. I used them to help me to find the ACE program. All the support that came in, man, it's it was difficult at first, but
Yeah, the Skid Row's no joke.
I know, it's scary.
Yes,
I
yes.
was telling the guys when I first got out, my buddy Rudy, the guy who got out before me, helped me. So he got me a hotel room that night because I was kind of waiting for my brother come from the East Coast come see me because we planned that. So I kind of put on hold like the programming, the housing, so I could be with my family. So when I went to the hotel, the next day I had a bad experience. I got threatened. My life got threatened, and if I didn't use the tools I know GOGI, I would probably went the whole way. So the 5 seconds, bam, this is dangerous. This something could happen really bad to me. Try to be talk positive, be respectful, and try to get out of that situation. Um, I was, if I didn't lose my belly breathing, I didn't calm down, something could really bad happen to me.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the tools, the GOGI Life Tools, and how you utilize them. But Michael, before we do that, can you tell me how important is it for somebody to do the programming while they're still in prison, even if they're just like short to the gate, they don't have much time, they are going to get out, it's only 6 more months, or it's only 9 more months, or it's only 3 more months? How important is programming, and why, in your experience?
In my experience, programming is everything. The cognitive distortions that I held onto while I was in prison, it took a long time to break that rewiring, that rethinking. I had a lot of beliefs that were inconsistent with the truth.
Like what? Like the cognitive distortions. If someone were to tell me, Coach Taylor, you just have cognitive distortions, I'm going to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. I know what's right. I know what's real. I know what I see. I'm going to, from my perspective, in my world, it's not a distortion at all. I'm telling you my reality. You're telling me I'm distorted. How can someone understand what a cognitive distortion is when everything in their world says it's not a distortion, it's just plain fact, it's just reality? What distortions did you have, and when was it that you said, oh, maybe that way of thinking isn't the only way of thinking?
Right. So a perfect example is my beliefs that were inconsistent with the truth. Were believing that I needed my gang's praise, affection, and love. And when I started to use positive thoughts, positive words, and positive actions, I realized those beliefs didn't correlate with who I am as a man. I was identifying by a gang moniker that wasn't who I was as a man. And I wasn't proud of the decisions I was making that claim responsibility to I use every day in everything I do. And I ask myself, am I proud of this decision I'm making? Is that the man that I want to be? Or is that the moniker from the gang that I was before? And that has to start in prison. Because if you're living two lives like I was, I began to have this identity crisis, and I'm trying to be this gang moniker, and I'm trying to be this father of four, and I'm trying to be this tough gang member, and I'm trying to be a man who wants to make board. Those things they don't work together. And when I figured that out in prison, I was actually in GOGI. I was just sentenced, and I remember being in North Kern and picking up an anger management book, and I seen your picture, and I seen the book, and I'm like, what is this? And I started reading through it, and I'm like, man, this makes sense. GOGI makes sense. Like, and the craziest thing is, I'm like, this is common sense. How dumb, but yet I wasn't applying it. How dumb of me. Like, why is it that this is so simple, yet I'm not doing it for myself? And as I started to apply the tools of GOGI, I started to see my life transform. As I started to treat people right and have positive thoughts of people and not think negatively about them, my words started to change. My words became positive. They became affirmations, and they became uplifting. And I started to edify people, and my actions changed. Instead of being greedy and hurtful and hateful, I started to embrace people. I started to go to GOGI class and be happy to be there. And I met individuals there. And to answer the question you asked, Paul, how do we find those resources? I found mine in GOGI on Tuesday nights. I would go to GOGI, and I'm like, hey, man, I got like 4 or 5 years to the house. I don't have nowhere to go home to. And they're like, we better start now. And I was like halfway through my sentence. I had 15 years, and I was like 5 years to the house. I was stressed out, and people, like normal people in the world, would be like, you had 5 years. Like, what are you worried about? But the reality is, I knew I had nothing out here. And the reality is, when you set yourself around places like GOGI and you reach out for help, you have somebody from the power up meetings that calls a brother, calls a sister, calls their mom, and they start Googling for you. And then they say, hey, I got this address for your friend. Hey, I got this address for your friend. And you start to collect these numbers and addresses. And as you reach out for them, I realized that came from GOGI. That came from surrounding myself around like-minded people who wanted the same things I wanted. And that's to be happy, to be free, to have that freedom that GOGI provides, to experience life without being so hateful and hurtful and so just nasty towards people. And I'm serious, coach. When I applied the tools of GOGI, like it's not just the people around me that start to feel good and gravitate towards me, but it's my family members. They're like, man, he is changed. And when I tell them about GOGI, they're like, what is GOGI? Like, that sounds so funny. Like, what scheme are you up to now? But once they start to see the way it changed my life in the tools, and they allow me to share, they do see that it works. And I shared it with my entire family, and they see them in 1 year, coach. Just today, Ryan Hammer is a witness to this. I got mail today. I've been home exactly 1 year, a few days ago, and I discharged parole today.
Oh, you
Yeah,
discharged?
I discharged parole. Yes.
1 year is
Yes.
all you did.
1 year.
Wow.
That's it. That's it.
Congratulations. That
Thank
is
you.
awesome. Tell me, Paul, can you relate to his reliance on the programming aspect of what was available to him in building those resources? And then when you got out and you were not yet in a program and you're on Skid Row, how did you use the tools that you had learned?
It's funny because I when I was out there on Skid Row and dealing with all that craziness, I just stayed positive. I just try to smile. I just try be, when people come up to me, be friendly, be respectful. My favorite is the belly breathing because I always love because it calms me down. The last 5 years, coach, I've been more positive, more happier, more or less stressed. Even when I was inside waiting to be released from the courts, I didn't have that pressure. But I had pressure, see, when they was going to come up with this new law that, I thought would help me, but I was a 3-striker, and it didn't. And I was right into housing, trying to hook up my support system, and it backfired. But I didn't get mad. And Coach, I lost my mom like a year ago.
I'm sorry.
It could have very easily triggered me to go back to my old ways, but it didn't. It made me stronger. It made me who I am today because I was hurting. I hurt, that took a lot out of me. And me go backwards would disappoint her, and I couldn't do that. So today I'm more positive, more happier, more friendly. I did a lot in prison. I did a lot of groups. I did it back in 05, 07, so I had to make that choice and make that change, coach. And I'm proud of who I am today. I was back then. I was ugly. I had that, fake, that mask on for so many years, the walls up. If I never knocked them down, I couldn't be who I am today. So
I love that. Ryan Hammer, can you tell me a little bit about how do you know these two gentlemen and what is ACE? With this is probably going to air on social media. It will definitely be on the tablets. There'll be 10s, 20, 30,000 individuals doing the course that we're going to create around this. Who are you, Ryan Hammer? What's ACE, and how do you know these two men?
So where do I start, Coach?
I don't know.
ACE is short for Alliance for Community Empowerment. Our main building is in Canoga Park. We have 6 locations, 5 different programs. The program I work for was created specifically for those impacted by the justice system. It's called the Sector Program, which just stands for Skills and Experience for the Careers of Tomorrow. And what it is, Coach, is we provide reentry services such as we pay for your training and we incentivize the heck out of you. You can earn up to $3,000 in incentives. 10 weeks of training, we give you $200 each week. Employability benchmarks that you've reached, you get an incentive for that. You get your license. We give you an incentive. You get a job. You remain in the job. We incentivize you 30 days, 6 months, 9 months employment. So there's a bunch of ways that we support you in that. And we also have about $300 to $500 in supportive services that you could use for work clothes, work tools, gas cards, tap cards, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a total of about $3,500 in supportive services and incentives when you join our sector program. It's easy, Coach. It's the criteria.
Ryan, it wasn't so long ago that you were wearing big old baggy shirt and down the leg of your pant it said CDCR prisoner. How are you now in charge of handing out money and opportunities? How did you make you weren't always an A student, my friend. You somehow.
So, Coach, I was actually a participant in the sector program.
You were
when I got out.
Wow.
Yes. When I got out,
much
after
like Michael, he was a participant in Chrysalis, and now he's doing his thing. And Paul, yeah. I know when he lands somewhere, he's going to be an emerging leader in what he's doing too. That's really awesome. How do you know Michael and how do you know Paul, Ryan?
So they're both in our sector program currently, and they're both in our transitional housing. That's for long-term offenders. You kind of heard the story of Paul. And what Michael said, the importance of building a network, a support system. I came across Paul from another organization, a friend of a friend, which was also a fellow lifer. They reached out to me and told me what was going on with Paul. It's a sad situation, Coach, what's going on now, because Paul did over, I believe, 25 years, and he was resentenced, which was a blessing, but the non-blessing was he was released from the county jail with no gate money, on probation, and CDCR stop funding, which is like the big dogs like Amity and Beacon House and all that. They do not fund those on probation. The stop funding from CDCR does not fund probation. So if you don't have anybody, we have lifers coming out from long-term incarceration pretty much going to be homeless. And I'm grateful for our housing. So
you need your tools. You need your tools to be able to manage like Paul did on Skid Row. He needed his belly breathing. That kept it all together. And then you need a network. You need to be able to make those links early on. Michael, years before he was set free, he was working on what he's going to do. Paul now was able to reach out and get assistance. But what I hear you all saying is getting those contacts, getting that network, getting that support system is critical. Would you say that's true, Paul?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
You're going to have lots of people watching this course and watching the video version. They're going to be listening to it on Spotify. They're going to see little pieces of it on Instagram.
Yeah,
what
I'm a little
do you want
nervous.
to tell the world, Paul? What do you want to tell the 2 million people incarcerated, the 7 million on parole or probation, the youngsters that are making all sorts of poor decisions that are going to make them a number? What can you tell the world about choices they can make or should make, or choices that you've now made? What do you want to say?
Oh, wow. Damn, supposed to put it on.
I mean, no pressure there. There's only a couple million people.
2 million people watching me. Oh my God, I'm sweating. Just, if you go and do these groups, be serious about it. Don't go in there for the milestones. Don't go in there for the credits, because who cares about that? Because I'm a lifer. I'm not gonna get. It's not gonna get me out. But guys, if you're really serious about yourself, you could change. It's a choice. You know, I made a choice back in 2001 when I came to the gates of prison. I gave up drinking and drugging. I've been clean and sober to this day. So it's a choice I made. I made that, and my will it just got me stronger and stronger over the years and the decades. And I don't have no. I don't think about any desire of drinking, drugging. That's not me no more. But it works if you make that choice. The first step in your life is to make a choice. It's you. About you, everything else will come in place, and you get the help. People will see that and they'll help you.
How important,
like I said,
how important is that sobriety aspect of it, Paul?
I'm sorry.
How important is the sobriety that you've chosen sobriety? How important is that in your success today?
I could think clearly. I could,
You can think now.
I could have conversations with people. I don't have to be drunk to, be open. Drinking just helped me, keep my walls up, so I don't have to show my true feelings. So when I gave that up, walls started coming down, my emotions started coming out. I started being emotional more. Coach, I cry. I'm a man, right?
Yes,
we never cry, but I cry. I'm proud of it. When I got resentence on November 27th of last year, I cried in the courtroom and was not embarrassed about it. I didn't care if people would see me crying. They were so happy for me. I was happy. And that's the best feeling I can say, man. Just to be yourself. It's not too late. It's not too late to be a change. It's not. You can always change.
You know what? But when I hear, you're sober and you cry and you're okay with that, if not proud of it, that's what in my mind, and I think a lot of people, that is the making of a true man. That is a true man. That is not someone who's hiding behind the alcohol bottle,
right?
Posturing to be something he's not. A true man is a sober man, is a sane man you can have a wonderful conversation with. And Paul, I think you're a very brave man as well. And I want to congratulate you on the journey that you're on and the obstacles that you're facing. And I'm so proud you're using belly breathing. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I'm a boss of my brain. I used to be I always used that pressure and all that, pride, give my thoughts, not being boss of my brain. So to be boss of my brain and think what in my thoughts, I'm good. I'm really positive now. I'm happy. So
I love it, Paul. I love it. Michael, okay, you got everybody looking at you. What words of wisdom are you going to share to the world? The youngsters who might be headed down the wrong road, somebody that's been down 20, 30 years, somebody who's being released and they have no gate money and no friends and what do you want to tell people? What do you want for them?
The main thing I can give them is this, is it's going to be hard. Nothing about it is easy. But nothing about doing the lifestyle, that destructive lifestyle, was easy either. But I continue to indulge in it. And I seen it wasn't working. So for the ones that are out there continuing to indulge in that lifestyle and you see it's not working, all I could say is give something else a try. Give GOGI a try. Try these tools that make them applicable to your life. Do everything you can to change that way of thinking that's not working for you and try another way of thinking. I started applying these tools, 12 basic tools that completely transformed my life. And this is 10 years ago now that I started using these tools, and the effect they've had in my life is beyond anything I can ever express. It's so from the way I look, when I came home, I remember one of the CEOs was like, "You'll never find a job." He's like, "Good luck out there. We'll see you soon." And that type of stuff motivates me. I came home, in the first month I came home, I was jumped and pepper sprayed with bear spray by some gang members. And I went to the hospital.
It's doing good, but I'm on a Zoom call right now.
Seriously? You were
I'll talk to you. I'll
Seriously?
call you once you
Yeah, no,
go.
I'm dead serious. That's a true story. I was sprayed with bear repellent by some gang members. And you know what I thought, coach? You know, the first thing I thought is reality check. I'm like, these are a couple steps back, but I'm so far ahead. I cannot think about retaliation. I like to hurt somebody or harm somebody was not even on my mind. You know, it really wasn't. That was the first thing that came to my mind was reality check. I'm like, I am not going to let them take what I have, my freedom. I was laying in the hospital with bare and just thinking like, man, how do I overcome this? Like, how do I show the world I'm not the person that I look like? How do I show the world I'm not a felon who went to prison for assault on an officer? Like, how do I change that narrative? And you know how you change that narrative is by applying those simple 12 tools that you've given us and by living them daily. That's it. It's so simple, but it really transformed my life. And even when I encounter physical, violent actions against me, because there's been three of them since I've been home, but that I've violently been attacked, and I don't let that stop me, and I don't retaliate. I don't go to my old gang and look for to get even. I don't even think about that destructive behavior no more. I just it's not in me, coach. It's not. It's really not. The belly breathing, it does work. I use that. All the tools, you know, especially like I told you, the tools of choice. Like I rely on that. The way we think, the way I think, it really does. It dictates what I say and how I act. Period. And I have to be consciously aware of that. I have to be consciously aware of the fact when people are biased towards me and treat me unfairly, that's okay. That's just who they are. That's okay. I don't have to react negatively to someone who reacts horribly towards me. I don't. I just want to be proud of the man I am today. And if somebody treats me bad, you know what? All I could do is treat them better, treat them good, you know, and kill them with kindness. That's a real thing. And it's really showed in my life that it works because the company I'm at now, they trusted me. They've seen things in front of them and waited to see what my reaction was. People who called me out of my name and done things and said things. And I'm like, man, I won't entertain that. I'm not going to indulge in that. I'm not. That's just not who I am as a man. I'm not that person, you know. And like I said, it's going to be hard for the people. Life is hard. It's going to be extremely hard, but you have to you have to trust the process. You have to trust the process. That's all I can tell you is trust the process and stick with it, and it'll work. I can promise that it will work. You just have to trust the process.
So I hope that Paul, you and Michael are willing to come back on for another recording, maybe individually, because your stories, each of them, are so compelling and so applicable to people's experiences. I think people will really relate to your journey. Would you mind coming back on and doing another recording at some time, each of you individually?
Absolutely, Coach. Believe me, anything you ask, it's done. Like we got you 100%.
Okay, we're going to make a really good set of videos for individuals who really, really want to go home and be the father to the 4 kids, to be the person that it can be on Skid Row and not get sucked into the violence and the danger that's there or the drugs, you know. I really think your stories need to be individually told, and we've got a couple more minutes, but Ryan's over there. He's over there in the corner smiling. You would think that you were both his firstborn sons the way he's smiling.
We are.
Ryan, you're just glowing. I mean, you know, you must be so proud of these men and the accomplishments and their dedication. Talk to me. We have a few more minutes before our camera goes out. We only have a limited time. So talk to me about what you see for these men and why are you smiling so brightly?
It just, Coach, I mean, you asked the question, like, why would I leave, like, the youngsters and all those? I mean, you could see it. You could see that these men actually applied the tools and they use them daily. And that's what I give those who are still incarcerated. Don't do it for chronos or certificates or for any other thing, but to internalize the GOGI tools. One of my things, one of the tools that I use mostly out here is ultimate freedom. and Boss of My Brain, they go hand in hand. We talked about sobriety. Yesterday was my 29th year of sobriety.
Woo!
So yesterday was my, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 12696 is my sobriety date, and I've been out 2.5 years, and it was scary. But as Ultimate Freedom states, you have to separate yourself from that harm to be of service. And so every day I have to use that, because in my line of work, I meet people, and it could be people that come from beautiful organizations, you know, well spoken, well moral people, but at the same time, they have a habit of drinking, you know, and in a sense to where they could be responsible drinkers. And I can get into that mentality of that thinking that I could be a responsible drinker, which I can't coach.
Yeah.
And with that, you know, comes smoking weed and who knows, crystal or cocaine and et cetera, et cetera. So I've been in situations, and that's where Boss of My Brain, you know what I mean? Michael said it's going to be hard. It's hard, but as I said, you have to use these tools. Carry them, coach. I got them on my keychain.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, Michael and Paul, if you want one of those GOGI keychains, let me know. I'll make sure you guys get a GOGI.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So it's important just carry them. Remind yourself, you know, to use the smart part. You're going to be tested out here. But a lot has changed out here as far as our past was a hindrance to us, and now it's actually like a benefit in that sense. So I could say with you know, jobs like peer support specialists and community health workers and addiction counselors, a lot of organizations are looking for lived experience. Yeah. So don't come out like Paul and Michael. They didn't come out with that victim mentality. I hate that. You know, you heard Paul, you heard Michael, the stuff that they faced with, and they refuse to be victims. So leave that victim mentality, you know, victim stance, all this about poor me, leave that in prison, because out here, if you want to succeed and go forward, yeah, you have to leave that victim mentality in there, and leave your past, and just, man, look forward to the future. We're out here to help you. Coach still got the GOGI mailroom going.
Still with Coach Johnny. 25 years, man. 25 years I've been down for the GOGI mailroom.
Yes. You know,
I'm an LWOP GOGI. There is no release.
Yeah, I mean, Coach. And so it's you know, the organizations, like I said, the program I work for, which specifically created for those impacted by the justice system. And there's many, Chrysalis, ARC, Volunteers of America. There's so many. There's so much help for us now.
All the GOGI Life Tools books are available on Amazon.